Hello, I think I should be online now. Sorry for the delay. My Windows crashed and I had to start it all anew, so that took a few minutes. Thank you for waiting. 1 second, I need to place my... Here we go. Yes, I'm online. How nice to see me. Hello, I hope everyone is well, and I hope everyone understands not only the delay, but also doesn't mind the rather bad image quality today. We'll have to live with that for now. The main thing is, as always, our story here. So it shouldn't be too much of a problem that you can't see me very well, because this is not about me. This is our interactive writing stream where we write about Munira's adventures with the first Magi. And yeah, last time we decided that we wanted to teach Munira a bit of magic. I'm a bit torn how to pronounce it, because the story plays in Germany and I think the characters will naturally speak German, so I might just say Munira. Also, the name is, I don't even know where exactly, I forgot. Well, shows you. So how to pronounce that name? Because Munira sounds kind of silly, because this is, well, that's how you would pronounce it as an English person who doesn't care how to correctly pronounce the name. Maybe I'll go with Munira and not try something like Munira or something. I guess that's the way I'm going with now, until you wish for something else. Hello everyone, says Crumble in the chat. And let's get back into our story before hello everybody, Epiphany agrees. Thanks. Before I go on embarrassing myself even further, Munira watched the cat curled up right beside Torah's table. I'm going to read the last few paragraphs for us all to get back into the story. Curled up right beside Torah's table and stretched her neck a bit to take a bite from the blueberry pie. Munira watched and almost opened her mouth to ask if this was okay, because her family had always been very firm about pets not getting human food, not only for... Hello, says Millicent. Hello, Millicent. Not only for hygienic reasons, but also because it was bad for them. But she remembered in time that Jasper was no ordinary cat, and also what Pakari had said about her being a tyrant. Munira was not sure how funny that had been supposed to be. So instead, she returned to another thought that had seemed very intriguing to her at the time. You mentioned something about... And then she hesitated, because it suddenly felt very ridiculous to ask, and she was mortally afraid everybody would stare at her in awkward silence before starting to point and loudly laugh at the ridiculous girl who thought she could learn magic, but still, she forced herself to say it. I think you said you said something about second Magi, and I took that to mean... Sam's smile was a great relief to her, because it seemed agreeable and encouraging, so she hadn't misunderstood or misremembered that remark. Apparently, Sam nodded. I did say that, they exclaimed. And that's how far we got, and that's the point where I need to talk to you about the sponsor of today's video, which is do you ever feel like you're in need of a cup of a hot beverage and you just have no idea what hot beverage might fill that need? It's tea. Tea is the hot beverage of your choice, if you know what's good for you. Tea, it's an offer you can't refuse. Drink more tea, and nobody gets hurt. I really like my tea. Trust me, you won't regret it. Then again, if you don't trust me, you might, well. We all know where this is going. I'm going to scroll back a bit and have a look at what exactly we decided next Sunday. Those are the appointment, the times, discussions, learning from real life. Here we go. What it's worth here. Yes, we do. And there was the Epiphany said that she likes the idea of Munira learning from real life rather than reading a lot of books. So kind of an apprenticeship on the go. Grimble says, amazing, we get advertisement without any benefits for you. Take this, capitalism. Oh, but you're wrong, Grimble, you're wrong. Because I get a benefit. Oh, there's my benefit. You can't spell capitalism without T. It just can't. Not possible. So, here we go. Apparently I did say that they exclaimed. So, where to go from here? I think we have spent, well, I'm not sure. We might have spent some time, he says Epiphany, and she's right. We might have spent close on enough time in this cat cafe, although there haven't been any cats so far, except for Jasper, which I don't want to discount Jasper. I just think she doesn't count as a feature of the cat cafe because she's a guest. Maybe we need to put in more cats. I wouldn't do that now, but we might do that in a reworking if we ever get far enough, so as to go through the text again and write more of it, because there are no feature cats right now. There's only a guest cat, which wouldn't make this a very good cat cafe, I think. Although cats are notoriously, what's the right word here? They are notoriously hard to manage, selfish. They are, what are they? Cats are their own masters, if you will. So that might mean they are there, they just don't feel like interacting with the guests, or maybe Jasper scared them all off. So I think we don't need to start adding cats right now. I think we can go on talking about Sam and Munira and their future apprenticeship. Aloof, yeah. Epiphany proposes the word aloof for what cats are, and I think that's a very good word. I think that's fitting. Cats are quite aloof, and god damn it, if I don't always have to dismiss like 20 new ways of basically clicking on emoji every time I open Discord. I'm a grumpy old man, I'm sorry. I like that. I just want to emoji react to that. Maybe like this. Here we go. That's a weird thing. They have these. Discord is just one example, but it's one that's for some reasons especially present in my life. They have these services that are free, which is great. And they don't want to limit the free version too much, because the service, like with Discord, is only useful if it is used by many, many people and if it is accessible to most of them. At least to the core target group, in this case, I think originally gamers. And you still want to make them pay. You want to make gamers pay, don't you? I certainly do. But and Discord wants that as well, and so they have to make a feature that you have to pay for, but it can't impact the core functionality too much, because then people won't use your service, I guess, or you're afraid that people won't do that or something. And so you have this this thing that costs money and is completely useless. And I know, I think that sounded more interesting and surprising in my head before I said it, sorry. You can't spell capitalism without T. So, and I don't mean, when I say that, I don't mean to sound passive-aggressive or anything. I don't mean it in any critical manner. I just say it to emphasize that I'm very much open to your input. Since I don't see any wishes or questions or anything from the chat right now, I think I'll just start writing whatever comes to my mind, and then you can give me feedback on that, and we develop how our story will progress. So let's try that. And I look forward to it quite a lot. I always wanted to be a teacher. What's a good word? Weird, thoughtful. Maybe go with thoughtful, although it's a little bit euphemistic. Thoughtful silence descended upon the table while everybody looked at Sam, except for Munira. Still don't know, because it does sound a bit like a what's the right word for that? It sticks out. It feels a bit out of place when I talk. Well, maybe I sound like that to you all the time, at least to the native speaker. There's only one. To Epiphany, when I speak. But to me, it feels weird to speak in as much of a correct English pronunciation as I can, and then just sometimes say stuff like Munira or Jasper. I guess Jasper and Torah would even be, I don't know. Just, if you see me make faces while I'm speaking, don't assume any deeper motivation behind that or any real thoughts. It's just irritation about my pronunciation. No matter how I do it, because everything feels a bit irritating to me in that way. So maybe irritating is too strong. I think in English it has more of a "it makes me angry" vibe, while in Germany we use irritierend more in the sense of confusing. So that's kind of a subtle false friend as far as I know. So it doesn't really irritate me. It's more like it confuses me a bit, or it captures my attention every time, and I have to think about it for a few milliseconds or something like that. Except for Munira, who looked at everyone else trying to decipher their faces, their means, their facial expressions, their what does she try to decipher? Facial expression is basically what I'm going for, I think. But still, it might not be just the right word. Let me try my trusted translation software and see if that gets me anywhere. No, I think I'm going to stay with facial expressions. Expressions before returning to Sam's face after a few seconds to gauge. sorry, their reaction. What? Sam. I always forget. The comma is a German thing. You don't have that in English, do you? In English it's like that? I need to look for a question mark, sorry. No, that's not it. Yeah, no, it's that way around. No comma. In English, in that place. You know that there are actually a lot of words you can't spell without T. Like, for example, lot of things. Or interactive writing stream. You can't do that. It can't be done. And this is good T. I'm glad. This is not even. I'm not even sure if it's something I say about the tea or about my mood in that moment. There is bad tea. There is such a thing as bad tea. I'm sorry to say. There is. I've had it. It wasn't pleasurable. But it's also a matter of mood. Because sometimes a cup of tea isn't the right thing. Even though you think it might be. Or I shouldn't say you, probably. No idea what you feel. But right now, this tea is very good for me. What? Some exclaimed right before. Some asked in a mixture of affront and amusement. I have. Now, how silly do we want to get with this? Let's go. Always as in since when exactly what I asked. Because you certainly never mentioned it like this. And that's what irritates me. Now I'm going to say it, and with good reason. That's what irritates me. Because there's a comma. There would be a full stop in that sentence, but we change it to a comma. But we don't do that with question marks and exclamation marks. And I ask you, why not? What's wrong with the full stop? Why do you hate it so much? Not saying we don't have these things in German language, of course we do, lots of them. And I hate them as well. Because you certainly never mentioned it. Who says that? Maybe I'm thinking of Pakari just because that's the name. Oh, well, why not? Pakari. Now, I want to write agreed, but of course Pakari can't agree with anything because nothing has been said. Technically this is a question, of course. an expression like came to Torah's aid or something like that is too much. That's a bit thick. We don't want that. What support? Not the right thing. Assist? No. Help? Promote? Aid? Foster? No. We don't want that. Provide assistance. Endorse. Underpin. Second. Provide. Get chimed in. Yeah. Let's do that. Why not? This is interactive. I mean, your idea is good. Why not? Let Pakari chime in. I don't say everything that's on my mind at all times. Sam said, is there an alternative to exclaim? A good one, I mean. Shouted, yelled, cried, called, screamed, none of those really fit. I think there should be more words for that sort of gentle shouting. You know? Like what I do when I playfully shout at someone. Like when I go, "Oh no, stop it!" That's not just saying it, but when I say shout or exclaim or scream, that's too much. That sounds like I'm really screaming at you, and I'm not doing that. We need more words for that. Piped up. No, I think chimed in is great for that, and piped up is nice too. But well, you're the native speaker. But to me, that doesn't feel like it conveys what I mean. Like it's shouting or exclaiming, but it's a level below shouting, basically. It's not real shouting. It's pretend shouting or something like that. Or it can be like, it doesn't have to be playful. It can be serious, but still it's not real shouting. Like if you're in a serious but not yet aggressive argument with someone, and they criticize you for something, and you go, "I didn't say that," interjected. That's also good, but that, as I said, you're the native speaker, so you can tell me. But to me, it doesn't feel like it conveys that exact thing, that almost shouting, that not really shouting, but not normal talking either. And we have no word for that in German either. So at least I can say it for a language. Maybe I should limit myself to that. I can say it for a language I am proficient in. We don't have that in German at all. Like we have even less fitting words for that, because we don't even really have exclaimed, or of course we don't have that, but we don't have a real pendant for that. We only have shout or not shout, and that I don't like that. I think we should make up more words. I think we should have more made up words. I know we already have all of them, but there could be more. Sunset. Again, a few seconds. Oh, stood up for themselves. Yeah, but that can be fitting in the right situation and in the right context. But it's not so much, it doesn't so much say something about the way I speak, but more about the situation and context and meaning of what I say, what's the content of my words in this situation. And I mean the actual physical voice part, if that makes sense to you. So, this feels like a moment where we could maybe cut away from the scene, but I want one thing before. Said defiantly. Yeah. Also a possibility. I think I can use that here. Raised voice. Yeah. Raised voice. Yep. That's closer to what I mean, I think. That's closer to what I'm trying to say, Millicent. Thank you. That's probably the best we can do. So thanks for that. My tea is gone. So, there we go. Some grumbled and with a gesture towards the interior of the cafe called out, sorry, could I have some more hot water? So, and with that, we leave this scene. I think, of course, this is an interactive writing live stream, so this is also up to you. And still, if it's up to me, as long as you don't offer a different opinion, I will now cut away from this scene. And probably, now this is starting to get to become an interesting decision, kind of. Do we keep this story limited to one point of view? I think I would, and I realize I might have stated my case not very well, because saying limited to always sounds like you're giving away potential, like you're missing out on something. But well, you miss out on something with every single choice. So of course you do with that as well. But it's not obviously, if you ever read fiction, you know that there's a trade-off, but there's not a good and a bad decision. There's just whatever works for us and our story, and whatever we want to do. So do we write the whole story from Munira's point of view? Or do we want to broaden that up? Again, sounds like it would definitely be better, but it's not necessarily better. Although it feels like, I'm not even sure, because my reading experience is limited to a few authors and of course to a few genres mostly, not because I like certain genres, kinds of fiction, is genre even a word in English? Better than others in and of themselves, but because the writers I like are in them. Mostly fantasy, a bit science fiction, a bit, do we call that thriller? I'm not sure. But it feels to me like one viewpoint, or even first person storytelling is, well, not completely out of fashion, but the other thing is more fashionable, like having several narrators. Genre is a word, says Epiphany. Thank you, great. Like having several viewpoint characters in your story seems to be what most authors do today, if they write stories today in these times. I'm trying to come up with. There are counterexamples, so it's not really a rule. It's not a great and an overwhelming trend, even in the little slice of literature I perceive. But it seems to be the default kind of what people expect if you don't tell them anything else or whatever. Still, what do we do? Do we want to switch? I'm going to make a poll from this. I'm going to make it a poll. And the poll is going to be... But first, I need to answer another question by one of my messenger contacts, because this is not important but urgent. Still. So what? Poll. Do we keep this story or do we want several viewpoint characters in this story, or do we stick with Munira for now? Question mark. The for now is there to signify that I don't intend for this choice to bind us in all eternity. Just a decision we make now, and of course we can overthrow that at any time. But I'm just thinking, do we want to switch viewpoint? I think I wouldn't. It's not even a preference. I wouldn't say I prefer not to switch viewpoints. I just think I wouldn't do it if I sat here alone. If I were sitting here alone writing this story, I think I wouldn't switch viewpoints. But you might want to. Can be interesting. Can give you some nice effects and interesting possibilities. Like you can make humor from the contrast, or the contrast can be interesting even if it's not funny. You can obviously show different perspectives. You can give more information to the readers more easily, because right now the perspective of our story is limited to Munira, and everything Munira doesn't know for our readers to find out has to be either witnessed by or explained to Munira by some other character who knows. And if we were, for example, which I'm not sure is a good idea, but if we were to switch to the viewpoint of Sam or Jasper, we would then be able to convey the information they are aware of directly to our readers. Of course, it would still leave us with the problem of how to make the exposition work without coming off cheesy and boring and annoying. But it's different. The reason why I think and why I would very much hesitate to write from the perspective of one of the first Magi is that we would give up a bit of their alien nature, their strangeness. We would, by necessity, have to make them a bit more human, for lack of a better phrasing. I'm not yet ready. I'm willing to do that. Of course, if you're really good, I think you can make, or if you write it like that, it doesn't have to be good, but you can make characters appear more alien and strange by showing their point of view. Obviously, for example, if you write a character that appears completely normal and human from the outside, and then show from the inside that all the time they are only thinking about how to devour every other human being in the world, physically whole, or something like that, Yes, that's the first example that came to my mind. What? And of course, that makes them more alien than they were before. But still, I guess it's kind of obvious that the moment you know someone's thoughts and someone's perspective, they lose some sort of distance. And I think I would want to keep that distance for now. Epiphany says, I voted for sticking with Munira because I think it might feel more natural for you, Fabian, but I also think it would be interesting to have multiple points of view. Feeling indecisive. Well, you might then ask me, but whose perspective were you thinking about? Because right now, the only characters we really got to know as characters in the story are Munira and the first Magi. But that doesn't mean a lot. We could, for example, change to Munira's family. We could look how they are. We could switch to maybe other people who are potential second Magi. We could describe how Pakari picks up an apprentice. I'm not sure if I like the word apprentice for what's going on, and I'm definitely not liking the word master for the teaching position. And apprentice kind of implies that. So we could do that, or we could switch to some sort of authority figure, like we could write a scene from the point of view of the Chancellor of the Federal Republic of Germany, who is quite surprised, confused, and maybe a tad irritated, maybe even miffed that some sort of supernatural force is starting to undermine their power, or something like that. And that could be interesting, maybe even funny, enjoyable to write. Gegrimmel says, I agree with what you are saying now. I think I wasn't sure how to express it, but I feel we are not close enough to them yet from the point of view of the story to write from their point of view. It would drastically change the whole feeling, I think, which is not a bad thing by itself, but not how I feel about the story right now. Yeah, that's what I feel, I think. So that's why the other options seem more promising to me, if we even want to do it at all, switching to other non-magical people, whatever their relationship. We could switch to a teacher in the school who finds the police officers outside. We could switch to some sort of eyewitness who follows Munira and Sam, or tries to, or anything like that. I think that could be interesting. I don't have a really concrete idea for that right now. So my idea for how to proceed from here would be the next scene with Munira and Sam. That shows Sam's first attempt at teaching Munira magic, and from saying that, I get the feeling that we might later on decide to put in a scene in between, because now that I've started thinking of it, it feels interesting to add a bit of the perspective of people who don't know what's going on. I think that's promising, because Munira, of course, Munira doesn't know everything. Munira doesn't have a complete information. Doesn't have complete I wasn't sure where the sentence was going when I started it. Munira doesn't have complete information about what's going on and what the first Magi want and who they are and if they are telling her the truth. But Munira has a lot of information compared to, for example, the teacher whose class she was pulled out of, or even the police officers or something like that, or in this case, politicians, for example. So it could be interesting to have a scene in which, I don't know, the Chancellor talks to a few advisors and people who are severely confused and frightened by what's going on. They talk about whether this is an attack from some outside force, or maybe terrorists, or is it aliens? I already know how to write the guy who thinks it's aliens. Who knows? Maybe they have some sort of superstition or conspiracy construct that they see confirmed by these attacks. Something like that. Or maybe they are on a completely wrong, mundane track, like they think this is all sort of a piece of performance art by, do they still exist, these Zentrum für politische Schönheit or Center for Political Beauty? I don't like them, they are horrible people. But one might consider the possibility of them trying to, or some similar organization, doesn't matter. I think that could be interesting. I'm just not sure I would want to try that right off the cuff right now. But rather I would think about it a bit more. Speaking about thinking about things, I still have only one vote, which is by Epiphany, but first off, that's a majority, I'll allow it. Second off, I think a Grimble statement can be counted as at least sort of agreement. Grimble says, I think they do still exist. Yeah, but who do you mean? Aliens? Terrorists? Or political beauty? The Chancellor? Sorry, that was... I thought it might be a funny joke. Not sure. We'll see. I'll watch that video compulsively 24 times a day. And I think by next week or something I will have figured out if that was a funny remark. Yeah. This requires maybe like that. So we will now go on to Sam and Munira having their first little teaching session. So how to go about that? I think we'll have another poll about it. And our poll will be, how does Sam try to teach Munira? Question mark. They take her to some sort of far away fantasy place, like the first Magi. Do you write it like that? First Magi apostrophe S? I think you do, right? Because yeah, I think that's it. Like the first Magi is the fortress of solitude or something. I know we have already kind of talked about this, and I read in the beginning Epiphany's statement that she would prefer it to happen on the job while working, kind of, but I want to refine this a bit. Yeah, they take her to some sort of faraway, lonely place, like the first Magi's Fortress of Solitude or something. They simply take her to the next, what do we call it? Attack, event, exhibit, to the next action piece, to the next performance. I'm going to write performance or next part of the first Magi's plan right into the heat of... Well, now, battle sounds too much like we're limited to actual fighting or an attack going on, but they can do a lot of things. And they can be subtle, or they can be with a huge explosion, of course, but they don't have to be. Right into the, let's just say, thick of it. And then there's the option of they stay in human society, but without the intention of directly contributing to the plan. I'm going to put a little signal to plan because we still don't know how much of a plan there actually is. Let's try it like that. Here's our first, and there's the second, and here's the third emoji. And I'm not sure if it's clear what I'm thinking about with those three options. The first one would be like it doesn't have to be like a fantastic magical fortress in the core of Pluto or something. Absolutely not. It can just be a forest somewhere, or the Australian outback or something like that. The second option, take her to the next part of the first Magi's plan. That would be right, like maybe we have already freed the inmates of a prison. But we can, alright, we have a clear majority for the next part of the first Magi's plan, which I like because it keeps our story moving. There's action, it's interesting, and we get to know the characters, and we get progress in their relationship, and the plot moves on as well. Now, the drawback to this decision is that it forces us to decide more or less right now what the next part of the first Magi's plan is. We've already talked about that. And the gist of the plan is to undermine the order of human society as it is now, to unequivocally show that there is a new, bigger supernatural power in play, that the first Magi have arrived and that they want humanity to change their ways, for lack of better wording. And my tea is gone. But no matter, the hour is almost gone as well. Yeah, that's the gist of the plan. But what are the steps of the plan? Is there even a plan? Maybe this scene gets interesting and nice and funny because Munira learns for sure now that there is no actual plan, that they're just making it up as they go along, or something like that. Maybe Sam admits it, maybe not. Or maybe there is an actual plan. Maybe they have a little Excel sheet with the steps of their project. and the responsibilities of each member of the team and all that. Maybe Jasper made that, or maybe Pakari did. We don't know. That's also a possibility. But then, what is the next part of the first Magi's plan? Do you want to make a wish? I'm going to write it in the chat too. If you want to make a wish about what that next part should be, you can. It's like magic. You can just say what you want to happen. You can say it in as much and as little detail as you like, of course. By which I mean, you can say something very specific, like, I don't know, they visit the Chancellor of the Federal Republic of Germany in their office and talk to them, and they have like a list of 10 demands, and this is the alternative if they are not met. Although I think that is a bad example, because that's more like the last step. That's what they probably do when they're ready, when they think they have churned things up enough. But still, or you can just say, I want this to be non-violent. That's a level of detail I can work with too. Like anything that's input is useful to me, because I can make something up. Maybe probably most of it will happen next time, because our hour is almost up. But still, you don't have to have the idea. But if you have any wishes about it, any requests, you can post them now and tell me what you wish to happen. If it's more like a talk-based intervention, if it's more like a funny intervention or a very serious intervention. Is it maybe even a situation where Sam wants to do something, but Munira thinks it's too cruel, like you can't do that, no, don't do that, let's talk about that. That's also possible. Epiphany says, I like the idea of the Magi having a general direction, but they are open to spur-of-the-moment possibilities. Yeah, I like that too. Yeah, you might have noticed that that's kind of my philosophy as well. Maybe I should clarify. When I said the thing that Munira prevents would have been too cruel, I'm not saying, although I'm not excluding that, I'm not saying I imagine the first Magi as cruel, but I imagine them as removed from humanity. They might have been human themselves, they might not, but they are very different from us. And I think they might very well miscalculate or underestimate the pain certain things might cause, or the confusion, or the fear, or the psychological and physical effects of their actions. Epiphany clarifies, like having some specific objectives they want to achieve, but random life necessitates action. Yeah, right. We can, of course, also, I haven't even mentioned that, although the first action they took is kind of an example, but still, we can have a very clear positive action, like saving someone. They could, and that feels weird. I'm going to say it, and I'm not going to write it, at least not today. I'm going to think about that, and maybe you want to think about that too. Of course, given how this story started with deportation stopped by the Magi, of course the refugee situation comes to mind. And that was bad phrasing, I think. The cruel treatment of refugees by the European Union and its member states specifically, but it's a worldwide thing, of course. And on the one hand, it might seem obvious that the first Magi want to change that, and want to change that right away from the start, right now. But then again, it feels weird to like have Sam and Munira save a boat somewhere in the Mediterranean Sea, because it feels like making light of a horrible situation, and almost like, and I don't intend to make it funny. That's not where I'm going. But it's still, even if we make it a serious scene without any unnecessary jokes or something like that, it feels weird to just pretend we have solved this. Then again, that's kind of the gist of our story. Maybe something lighter. We'll have to think about that. Let's stop for today. We have made some decisions, we have written some text, and we haven't gotten extremely far, but I think that's on a superficial level, because on some level we have made quite considerable progress, I think. So my idea is optional and completely voluntary, as always. Course assignment: consider what the next step might be. Feel free to post it here anytime. No need to wait until I'm live on YouTube. We can discuss it beforehand. If you don't, I might post something here. And of course, we will soon have a doodle about our next stream date. Thanks for playing. Yeah, so this is our live stream for today. I thank you very, very much. This was nice, this was interesting, and this brought progress to our story. I liked this, and I hope you liked it a bit too, and I hope it didn't feel too frustrating that we didn't type a lot of actual words into our document. I think it was worth it, and to me it was interesting to think about these things, and I hope you're not yet tired of hearing me talking. Until next time, thank you. You're a wonderful audience. I hope you have a very, very nice day and a very, very nice Easter holiday, if you have something like that, or whatever you choose to do. I hope it brings you joy. Thank you and goodbye. Oh, don't forget, like, subscribe, and you're